This is the first initial training for DSPs. This training is compliant with the new Provider Certification Rule effective September 1st, 2021, using curriculum provided by DODD. Module 1, Introduction to Supporting People with Developmental Disabilities.
In the past, people with disabilities were treated as less than and were often isolated from the rest of the community. Today, people with disabilities are equal citizens and have more opportunities to live, learn, work, and play in their communities. Having a disability does not keep a person from living their life the same way you live yours. People with disabilities make friends, have careers, and start families. Like gender, ethnicity, or race, having a disability is just one of many characteristics of being human.
Section 1, People First Language. Words are important. Jargon or special language says people with disabilities are different. When you use professional jargon when talking with or about people with disabilities, such as toileting, individual, or special needs, it can act as a separator. Instead, use everyday language, words, and phrases you would use when talking about coworkers, friends, and family. Be mindful of phrasing. You do not feed someone, you support them with eating. You do not bathe someone, you provide support with bathing. When talking about people with disabilities, refrain from using words and terms such as retarded, sometimes referred to as the R word, special, crippled, damaged, defective, wheelchair-bound, or people who suffer from a disability. As a DSP, it is also important to avoid using ownership language. Examples of ownership language include phrases like my guys or our individuals. It is important to remember that the people you support are not yours or your agency's. It is also important, when talking about people without disabilities, to not refer to them as normal or healthy people. Using these terms can often make people with disabilities feel as though there is something wrong with them or that they are abnormal. When talking about people with disabilities, first ask yourself if including the disability or diagnosis is even necessary. If it is, use people first language. As the term implies, say the person first and the disability second. Below are examples of people first language. People with developmental disabilities, or Audrey has cerebral palsy, or she has a learning disability, or Herbert uses a wheelchair to get around, Dennis has autism, or Carla has a brain injury. Keep in mind that people with disabilities may choose to identify themselves using their disability first. This is their choice. As professionals, DSPs should use person-first language and should not correct the people they serve on how they choose to identify themselves. Section 2, Types of Developmental Disabilities. A developmental disability is a severe chronic disability that manifests before the age of 22, is likely to continue indefinitely, and is attributable to a mental or physical impairment or a combination of mental and physical impairments, other than those solely caused by mental illness. In other words, a person's disability is caused by mental or physical impairments and begins to show symptoms or effects before the person turns 22, even if it is not clinically diagnosed until later in the person's life. There are many different types of developmental disabilities. This section is designed to be an overview of some of the common developmental disabilities of the people you may serve. This section cannot tell you everything that you need to know about the person or people you will support. DSPs must read a person's individual service plan to know specifics on how a person's disability affects the services they require. As we go through this section, keep in mind that if a person has communication challenges, it does not necessarily mean they have an intellectual disability. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, can cause significant social and communication challenges. People who are on the spectrum can have a variety of different learning, thinking, and problem-solving abilities. Some people with ASD need a lot of help in their daily lives, while others need less. Signs and symptoms of ASD may include avoiding eye contact and wanting to be alone, having trouble understanding other people's feelings, avoiding talking about their feelings, repeating actions over and over again, and having trouble adapting to changes in their routine. ASD and communication. Not every person on the spectrum has difficulties with language and communication. For those that do, there are some patterns of language use and communication challenges, including delayed speech or no speech, difficulty expressing needs or processing language, difficulty understanding nonverbal cues, including facial expressions, scripting or repetition of words, phrases, or intonations, sometimes taken from movies, books, or something else someone has said, and literal interpretation of language. Cerebral palsy, or CP, is a group of disorders that affects a person's ability to move, maintain balance, and maintain posture. Although CP does not get worse over time, a person's symptoms can change over their lifetime. Signs and symptoms of cerebral palsy may include stiff muscles, poor balance and coordination, and uncontrollable movements. Fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, or FASD, are a group of conditions that can occur in a person whose mother drank alcohol during pregnancy. These conditions can affect learning and physical development. Signs and symptoms of FASD may include hyperactive behavior, learning disabilities, vision or hearing problems, problems with the heart, kidney, or bones, and poor memory. Down syndrome, or DS, is a genetic disorder caused when cell division results in an extra full or partial copy of chromosome 21. This extra genetic material causes the developmental changes and physical features of Down syndrome. People with Down syndrome have some of the same features, such as a short neck, short height, or poor muscle tone. Yet each person with Down syndrome is unique. A person's intellectual and developmental issues may be mild, moderate, or severe. Often, language is delayed, and both short and long-term memory are affected. Some people with Down syndrome are healthy, while others have significant health issues, such as heart defects.